Tonight, we got another great show lined up. I'm so excited. I've got two incredible guests tonight. We've got Heath and Malcom. I've been talking about this for weeks. I've been so excited, guys. So go ahead right now, like the page, share the page, let everybody get out there and know what's going on because this is going to be a fun night. And thank you guys so much for coming on. Heath, I see you're on. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Let everybody know all about you.
Yeah, I'm just Heath Riles from Heath Riles Barbecue, and just that's it. I don't know what else to say. I mean,
I'm just Heath Riles with Heath Riles. I love it, man. There you go.
I'm simple and easy.
There you go. All right, Malcom. You got it easy to show him up.
Well, hey, thanks for inviting me on, man. I'm Malcom Reed, How to Barbecue Right. Me and my wife run the website, YouTube channel, the podcast, all the places out there online where you can follow us and see the recipes I cook, and I share how I do it all with you, and have a lot of fun doing it.
I tell you what, you have done an amazing job with all of your everything you just listed off, from YouTube, podcast. I have people at work in my office that don't know anything about barbecue, and they're like, man, do you know that How to Barbecue Right guy? He has some awesome recipes. I was like, man, he's incredible at everything. He can cook on ceramic, he can cook on a Jambo, he can cook on everything, and he does, and you show all these wonderful things. But anyway, man, I tell you what, David Morrow, you're right. They are two legends, and we're very excited to have them on tonight. And I talked to both of them before we started. I'll let them know about asking questions from the audience. So, guys, please ask as many questions. They both said they would answer anything you had to ask tonight. So feel free to answer questions. I think both of y'all can find the comments, and we'll just go from there. But once again, like the page, share the page. Let's get as many people watching this as possible. So anyway, Heath, I know you've got some, both of y'all. I met Malcom last year at Memphis in May, and Heath, I was fortunate enough to be in your site a good bit last year during Memphis in May. How much are y'all missing Memphis in May and cooking and everything else?
I mean, I do miss it. I wish we were on the river, but I understand with everything going on. I totally get it. It's kind of been, it's not been as big a bummer, I would guess, because we hadn't had any contest. I feel like if we'd had some contests before and then Memphis in May didn't happen, I would feel worse, if that makes sense. But now that we hadn't had any, it makes it a little bit easier, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's going to happen in the end of September, beginning of October. And hopefully I can finally put that nail in the coffin. That's all I'm hoping for. That's it.
What about you?
I'd be lying if I didn't say I missed it. I mean, that's, Memphis in May, this is the first time, and I'm guessing 15, 16 years that I haven't cooked down on the river. And, it's a big part of our springtime. It doesn't really seem right not to be, recovering from a week-long Memphis in May right now. But, I miss all the barbecue contests. So, man, I know before the show we were talking. I just got a new barbecue truck. I was ready to get out and break it in this year and try to get some contest won. But it's rough on all of us.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's wild. So we'll move on past Memphis in May, but what were y'all going? I know last year I think you both cooked baby or ribs. What were y'all going to cook this year?
Well, I went back to make it fair on Malcom. I went back to the shoulder division.
I stayed in ribs. We're still signed up for ribs. So.
That's cool. Is that what? How do you decide? Because I've never cooked it. I would love to cook it one day. How do you pick and choose what category you're going to jump into?
For me, if whatever category I go to the pig jig with and place the highest is what I decided I was going to cook Memphis in May with. That's the biggest Memphis style contest. And when you go to Georgia, you got to have your britches on because you can get your ass whipped over there. And so for me to go over there, and I won the jig with rib before, and so I signed up for rib and then come back again and win it with pork. I just decided, hey, I'm going for pork at Memphis. I mean, plain and simple.
For us, I don't have any rhyme or reason. Heath was cooking ribs last year, so we jumped over the ribs, trying to chase him. No, we cooked shoulders for many years. I've cooked hog there. I started out cooking ribs at Memphis in May. It seems to me like, we kind of get burnt out on the spots we get. And year after year, if you stay in the same category, they end up giving you the same spot. So we moved to ribs just to get a different location in the park, and we're going to ride that out a few years. And who knows? We may end up in hog one day.
There you go. So that's right. So at Memphis, you are in the area of what you're cooking. So all the rib teams are together. Okay, that's right. I've forgotten about that. That's pretty cool. So shoulders over there in the corner, isn't it? I remember that's where Tuffy was last year.
They're usually the far end, far south end, and that's when we were in shoulders. We stayed like down the very last spot in a hole for years, and we were ready to come out of that hole for a while. So last year we moved to the Dust Bowl, and this year we put in for a river spot. So hopefully they'll move us out of the Dust Bowl. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to go back somewhere else. Go back to shoulders or hog.
There you go.
I'll cook hog again at Memphis before it's over too. I just wanted. I was kind of scared it was going to be the last year on the river, and so I got a river spot as well, to enjoy it. And I decided I'm not going to cook for any sponsors. I'm going to go down there and just give it my all myself. I mean, that's just and see how it plays out.
There you go.
I've also heard that. It hadn't been announced officially, but I've kind of heard on the down low that they're not going to actually ever move from the river. They've worked out a new plan to where, they're going to work around Barbecue Fest so it stays down there. I don't know what kind of shape the park's going to be in, but they're saying they're not going to have to move it like they previously said for a couple of years. So I'm hoping that's the case. I don't know if that's true or not. But.
That would be good.
Memphis and May wouldn't be the same if it wasn't right there in Tom Lee Park on the banks of the river downtown. I mean, that's what makes that contest so special.
Yeah, last year was my first year going, and it was Ellen and I. We both went, and we had an absolute blast. It was, we got to do that, and then later in the year we went to the American Royal, and we feel like we hit two of the most incredible things there are. And now we missed the Jack. And I guess that would be the next one to try and do. But anyway, golly, we got a bunch of questions on here. I don't know if y'all are able to see any of these comments or questions y'all have. But before we get too far along, my goodness, let me see if I can't get some of these questions asked. Heath, I'll ask you. Somebody was saying their kryptonite is chicken. What is a good way of getting perfect bite through skin on chicken?
I use a jacquard on my chicken. And you always want to make sure you dry it off really well if you're using a brine before you season it. And I think that you always want to cook chicken 275 to 300 in order to get bite through skin. I think if you cook it low and slow, that fat does not render very well. And so you want to be able to melt that inner layer of fat away to be able to get that bite through skin and jacquarding the skin. I cook legs. I'm a leg man. And so jacquarding around, I've never had a problem on that or thighs of getting bite through skin. And I never cover the pan, by the way. And I just spritz it with butter.
Really?
I never cover the pan.
There you go, guys. Here's some information for you. Malcom, what you got on that? Anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, we cook thighs mainly, and he's right. You got two choices. You can either pull the skin back and scrape some of the fat off, or you can jacquard it. Sometimes we do both, depending on what kind of chicken we're cooking. If we're cooking like an all-natural chicken, or something like Springer Mountain Farms or Smart Chicken or something like that, we don't usually worry about scraping the fat as much. But if we're just cooking store-bought chicken, I'll scrape the fat and use a jacquard. But it's all, to me, that bite through chicken skin is about rendering that skin. You got to render that fat, what's left under it. So you got to use those higher temps, like he said, 275 to 300. Sometimes we wrap it full, sometimes we run it without. What I found out, if you do cover it with foil, it cooks a little bit faster. So, you can get by with that hour and a half comp chicken versus like a 2.5 hour chicken. But we get the same results. I think the main thing is we're just getting that skin cooked properly to where it'll bite through. That's what people struggle with. They'll like to run it at a lower temp and really put the smoke to it. And it just doesn't get done enough to get that bite through texture.
Awesome. Well, Matt Tingman, I hope that answered your question. So both of y'all, what are your favorite sanctioning bodies to cook?
I'm kind of a roll the dice. It don't matter to me. I don't care. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to drive past an MBN contest 2 hours from my house to drive 8 hours to a KCBS. And as we all know, I like doing duels or doubles, whatever they call it. I've been fortunate enough to win 2 of them and reserve and grand at another one. And if they have another one in September, at the other one I hadn't done it at, I'm going to register for both of them and try to cook it again. I think it's more of a challenge to me instead of just going and cooking MBN or KCBS, and try to do both at the same time. And for anybody that's never done it, you better have your stuff together.
There you go. So you don't care. Malcolm, what about you?
I started out in the backyard of Memphis and May, what it was called back then, the Memphis and May Network. It changed to the MBN. So I'll always like those contests. But then me and my brother kind of transitioned over to KCBS cooking. And so those are the primary 2. When the SCA come along, and we kind of got hooked on steaks too. So that's the primary 3 sanctioned bodies that we cook. But man, I'll still throw a non-sanctioned contest in there if it's something that's fun. To me now, it's just about having fun at a contest. I'm not chasing any points or chasing championships or anything. I just want to get out there and have some fun with my friends and get to hang out with my brother and all that stuff. So that's really what we're looking for in contests, getting back to having fun at competition barbecues instead of being so serious about it. So it could be any sanctioning body. It really doesn't matter as long as we're having a good time.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see a lot of people that way. Because a lot of people take it serious, and then it's hard. It's not as easy for everybody to always chase the points and everything else. So there's going to be certain people doing that. Let them do it and go out and have fun and don't be so serious about it all. I got a question for both of you again, and I'll start with you, Malcolm. Somebody asked, what's your favorite kind of pit to cook on?
If I had to pick one, it's always my old Hickory CTO. That's the pit that, I just love cooking on it. And I feel like if all else fails and I had to make some money cooking barbecue, I could take that CTO and go make plenty of money. So that's my go-to pit. And I love cooking on my Jambo, but I've probably built more fires on a Weber kettle than I have any grills. So, I love them all, man.
There you go. Now, Heath, is that CTO? Is that what you were using in Memphis last year?
I do. I have a CTO and I have a BP, an Ace BP. And, but if I had to choose just one comp cooker, it'd probably be a Deep South gravity fed. I think the consistency and everything else just is awesome, and it has won me a ton of money. I can't say nothing bad about Old Hickory, and so both of them are on my trailer, and when I go to a comp, both of them are cooking. I firmly believe that Old Hickory is a rib cooking machine, and I've won a lot of money off of it, of course, with my wife's help of helping cook the ribs, but it's been good, and I've got an Outlaw, and I've got Traegers and Webers and PKs, and it'd be hard for me to say if I could only have one, because I don't think I could do it.
I'd have to. This one we forget about, Heath, but you know how good they are. That backwoods comp hog cooker, man. You can do any category you wanted on that pit, including whole hog. So that's one that we can't forget about.
Yeah.
I remember I called Heath last year. I think it was last year, because I was wanting to cook a whole hog, and I asked him. I said, if I had to get a whole hog cooker, what should I get? And that's what he told me. It's like it was the backwoods whole hog cooker, I guess. I think is what it was. I know it was a backwoods.
That water cooker on a hog I really like. I do. And for hog, I mean, I can't say nothing bad about it either. It's won me a lot of money.
That's all. Paul Kelder, my buddy Paul, he asked, I'm guessing to Heath, what do you cook the same KCBS to MBN?
I cook
You do what do it.
Exact same recipe, except like on ribs, I use St. Louis in KCBS and baby backs in MBN. Pork is the exact same, sauce exact same, everything. Don't change nothing. I run the same sauce on chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket. Don't change it none.
There you go. Malcolm, what would you do? You do the same thing also?
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we kind of got a sauce that we like, and we might tweak depending on what region we're at. If we want to add something to it, just to play, depending on what the judging's looking like. But pretty much it's that same combo. You know, you've got your sweet, a little bit of spicy with the savory note, and that's what does good, man. We've had more luck with that. I mean, my chicken sauce is pretty much the same thing as my pork sauce and rib sauce, and we even put a little bit of on brisket. We just thin it down with some drippings. I'm sure Heath, you're in that same
thing. Same thing.
That's awesome, man. Guys, I'm asking the questions. Y'all keep asking. I'm trying to get to them all. There's a lot. Keep asking. We'll get to them. Share the page. Let's get some people asking a lot of questions. Heath, I got to ask you, not Heath, Malcolm, I'm going to ask you a personal question. This isn't on the comment. This is just me. You get to do what majority of the people watching this show want to do all the time. You're out there cooking on different smokers, cooking every kind of meat you can think of, doing videos, teaching people. How did you get into that? And is that something that you just always wanted to do? Or
I thought you meant deal with customer service issues. I thought that's what you said. You don't see that on video, but that's what we do almost all day.
All day long. All day long.
I love cooking barbecue. I never, if you'd have asked me 10 years ago, what are you going to be doing from now? I never would have guessed that this is what my day job would be. I just kind of found something that I enjoyed, and kind of got forced into it a little bit because I was in the commercial construction business working for architect firms, designing buildings and drawing these big high rises. And the last big economic downturn I got laid off twice at two different companies. And that last time I was doing competition barbecue, and what little bit of severance pay I got, I told Rochelle we had enough money to make it 6 months, and I was going to throw my hat, in this barbecue thing and just try to make it stick. And we never stopped. So that's, it's been a lot of hard work, but it's a lot of fun too.
And you've been able to bring on a lot of people. I know Heath came on. Y'all did a couple videos together. You've been able to bring on a lot of people and have people come on and cook with you, and it seems to be a lot of fun. And you look like you really enjoy it. And Heath, I know you've been able to go in there and do a lot of stuff too with them.
Yeah, and actually, we've got a YouTube channel that our first video is going to drop this week. We had some other videos that we had to do first for some other people, but for some of our sponsors and stuff. But our first video, as soon as my wife gets done editing it this week, will hit sometime this week.
Awesome. And we know that's going to be a big one too.
Of course, my wife says with a little bit of Michelle's help, she's going to release it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, holy smokes. We've got a bunch of questions here. Smiley wants to know, do y'all use crazy sauce combos, or do you stick to one combo for all meats?
One combo for all meats.
Yeah, that's pretty much. The only thing I change up a little bit is, brisket, and I don't just use straight sauce on my brisket. I usually try to put a little bit of the beef drippings, defatted with that to give it a beefy flavor. But everything else, for chicken, ribs, and pork, it's the same sauce. I usually make 4 batches of sauce to go to a contest, and one, each category gets its own. It's about 32 ounces I make, depending, just so I have plenty. And that's what I take to every contest.
Awesome. And do y'all use? Somebody wants to know: do y'all use your own rubs, or do you use any other people's rubs?
I use my own.
I'm cooking. I use a mixture of different kind of stuff. A lot of it is mine, but for chicken, I'll throw in either some Swine Life or some Big Papa Smokers, to give it some extra savory flavor. And I use some of Heath stuff on brisket and ribs. On pork, we've had such good luck with our pork. I pretty much run AP, the barbecue rub, and a little bit of hot in the wrap in my wrapping. So that's pretty much my pork combo. But the sauce is a mixture of vinegar and the barbecue sauce, and then I've got some apple jelly that we melt down and throw in there. Either I'll use some rib candy, and then I'll use some of Heath sauce. And we got a few others we add to that.
Yeah, just a few.
They're the top secret ones.
Keep going. No, I'm just kidding. Awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some people you go way far. Some people bring it back simple. I mean, you can win barbecue either way, right? You can be as complicated or as simple as you want to be and be just fine.
It's all about tenderness at the end of the day. And for me, I mean, I used to use some Smoking Guns hot till Malcom come out with his hot rub. And to me, I like the pepper texture in it, and I use some of it. But I'm kind of, I don't know, not weird or anything like that. But I just got such a big portfolio of rubs that I don't have to outsource a lot of stuff, you know. That I try, not that I'm doing it intentionally or anything like that. But I just try to keep it simple. And I firmly believe that tenderness, by far, you just need to stay middle of the road, and tenderness was what wins the contest.
Yeah, I mean, guys, every top cook we've ever had come on this show will tell you that exact same thing over and over and over again. Tenderness wins. Scott has asked this question a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and ask it. Will we see Malcom and Heath in Galax, Virginia again?
Man, I hope to go back there one day. That's when people ask me, you know, favorite barbecue contest, Galax is always on the list. It's such a fun place to be, especially in July when it's a little bit cooler there than it is in Mississippi up on the mountain. But it's an awesome place, and the town really comes out and supports it. And that's what I like about it. Small town feel, and they pretty much set the whole little downtown area up with barbecue teams, and it's a lot of fun. I love that contest.
And the same with me, I will definitely go back. And the same with me when it's 105 here, it's you know, a balmy 85, 80 in Galax.
Cool at night.
I wish it wasn't a 12-hour drive or 11-hour drive, but it's not that bad. I mean, we break it up in a couple days going up and then come back in one day, but I'll definitely go back up there.
Awesome. Somebody else has asked a question a couple times about do you inject and do you wrap? I guess you inject, Heath, because you have a line of injections. Mm-hmm. And then wrapping.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm playing around and I'm trying to get more bark on something at home playing, I don't wrap. But 99% of the time, I'm gonna wrap. I mean, and whether it's let's go this route. It's probably 89 to 90%. I'm gonna wrap in full and 10% butcher paper playing around at home. Contests, I'm all foil.
Yeah, contests, we wrap all categories, even chicken. You know, I cook my chicken on a drum, and it gets covered up after it gets some smoke on it for about 30, 45 minutes. And then ribs wrap, pork wraps, brisket definitely wraps. The biggest thing about after wrapping is holding. To me, we hold everything. I like to have a 2-hour hold of my brisket. I like my pork to hold. The smaller meats, chicken and ribs, don't hold as long, but I do like to give a rib a good 45 minutes at least in a hold to calm down. I think that changes your game big time instead of pushing it right up to the time it's time to build a box.
Yep. And I'm the same way. I want to hold my ribs for an hour, hour and a half is what I like. They don't always get that. But I think that my butter bath a rib is kind of like a steak. It's out there, it pushes juices out. And as it relaxes and kind of calms down, it sucks those juices back up in a rib. And I can tell you the difference. I feel like that we do better when we hold a rib more than an hour versus if it's running behind and comes straight off the pit and goes in. My chicken is kind of right down on the wire. I don't hold it. But everything else, big meats are off by 8:30 or 9. I mean, on the two big meats.
And we inject everything except ribs too. I inject chicken. I inject pork, of course, and brisket always. So.
Mm-hmm.
Malcom, if you were going to cook at home, both of y'all, if y'all are going to cook, would you rather cook a baby back or a St. Louis?
It depends on how I'm feeling, man. It's like are you going to eat a filet? You're going to eat a ribeye. If I'm feeling ribeye, I'm cooking me a St. Louis cut rib, But if I'm feeling strip or filet, I'm going to cook a baby back. So both of them are great. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Yep, same way.
Would you ever turn in a baby back at a KCBS contest?
We used to, and the ones they used to be closer to Memphis, you'd find just as many baby backs as St. Louis cut. Now, years past, that's kind of changed here, but we started out. That's all we cooked at every KCBS contest. I've even, in some big ones, we've turned them in and done well with them. But it just depends on the contest. I wouldn't go, much far out of the Memphis region and try it. In the Memphis region, you still see a lot of baby backs too. We get a lot of crossover judges, so the judges they appreciate both.
Yeah, Heath got me. He's talked me in. Well, he doesn't know it, but I bought a case of Cheshire baby backs that I've got in the freezer that I'm going to start pulling out and playing with some of those just to see what I can do. So Heath, I'll probably be calling you saying, "Hey, help me out on these things. I don't know what I'm doing."
I'll be more than glad to help.
All right, so now I'm getting a bunch of questions about y'all's products. I wanted to kind of hold off, but I can't hold off any longer. Heath, I'll start with you. You had the simple citrus and the garlic butter. Mm-hmm. You've got a lot more coming. You've got a lot more products. Those are the two newest. Can you talk about those a little bit?
The garlic butter, I kind of wanted something that I could blend my garlic jalapeno with. And so I started putting that together with, I first called my co-packer and asked him what all types of garlic that they had. And so that's got several different types of garlic in it. It's got a roasted garlic in it also, which makes it pretty unique. And so I just wanted something that I could make and put in to make a compound butter with, that I could melt down and brush on meats, that I could use on pretty much anything, steaks, chicken, fish, seafood. And the citrus rub is kind of, it's my everyday rub, and I added citrus and lemon to it. It's the same thing as my everyday rub. I didn't change anything else. I did put a little more garlic in it. And both of those two work very well together, whether it's fish, seafood, chicken, veggies. A lot of people putting it as a base layer now. Both of them, I can tell you at my house, we use those two more now than everything, especially since there's no restaurants really we've been going to and been eating at home. I mean, everything that we do is cook with them in some way or form or fashion.
Sorry about that.
No problem. We lost Malcom for a second. He's back. He's back now.
The computer decided to crash.
Man, you gotta love technology. These things. I have a problem. It seems like every time we do something. But that was a quick response time. Good job. Well, awesome. So we'll come back to you, Heath. Malcom, what are your products that you like to use, and on all your products, how'd you come up with what you've got?
Well, the first one, the Bbq Rub, that was our original seasoning that we bottled, but we came up with it because we were making it for competition cooking, and we would make fresh rub every single contest. Usually, we'd bring a fresh batch with us, and we got to doing well with it. We wanted a rub that we could let the judges taste in Memphis and May cooking at the time. That was part of our presentation, to sit down and show them what we were seasoning our product with. And so we wanted something that tasted. You had a lot of rubs out there that were good, but a lot of them were just so salty or, so one-sided. So we needed one that tasted good, that looked good on the meat, and that you could just eat, if you wanted to. And that's what led to the Bbq Rub. And so a buddy of mine here locally, Mark Lambert, was getting his rubs bottled at the time. And after we kind of did it bootleg style at first. I would mix them up. We'd take orders, and I'd mix it up on the kitchen table, and had bought me some bottles from Uline, and would mix it. I had a 3-pound recipe, and I knew exactly how much that would make. And if they wanted bulk, I would vacuum seal it. But if not, I would fill it in a bottle and heat seal the top and stick a label on it. So after Mark got me hooked up with a co-packer, and the hard part about that was working with them, getting the recipe right, because I knew how to make it for 3 pounds, and they were trying to big batch it. and it just wasn't the same. So it took a while. It took about a year to go from, the recipe with a co-packer to having it in a bottle. And then from then on, I've just developed stuff as I went. The next one was the AP, because people were telling me, that we like your rub, but, we're having to put something with it. It doesn't have enough salt, or it doesn't have enough heat or whatever. So the first thing I did was come up with something savory, and that's how I come up with the AP, which is salt, pepper, garlic, pretty much. And that was our first note that we put on stuff. We would put that on to kind of do a dry brine, and then we'd hit it with the barbecue rub for the color and the barbecue notes. And it was a winning combo. And then I decided I want to come back. I was like Heath. A lot of people were using Smoking Guns Hot, and Cosmo had one, Dirty Bird. And I said, man, I think I could make a hot rub. I tested both of those. I wanted one that had pretty color, like the barbecue rub, that pulled back on the sugar, but that hit you with the peppery, the spice. And so that's how I developed hot. And then started cooking SCA contests, and I was using Montreal on my brisket in KCBS. So I said, I'm going to come up with my own version of Montreal. I wasn't crazy about all the dill and the different stuff that they had in Montreal season. And so I kind of come up with my version of that, which was kind of like a bigger, coarser grind, steak rub. And that's how I got that one. And then the new one, the TX, that was my homage to Texas-style briskets, where they just use salt and pepper. And I ordered up with our co-packers. I said, man, I want y'all to send me every grind of pepper you have. And I was looking for that perfect one. And then I started with just coarser salts too. And I just worked on my ratio until I got it to what I wanted, where it produced a bark like a genuine Texas brisket. So that's how
we got in today. We have that in on the barbecue store, Atlanta Barbecue Store. We got it in today. It'll be on the site tomorrow. So if you're looking for the Texas rub, we'll have it in tomorrow. Sorry, I just need to throw that out while you mentioned it.
Buy a ton of it.
That's right. Buy it all. We need to get some more of it in.
I got to get me some of it. I hadn't tried it yet.
You hadn't tried it? I'll send you some. Or come by the house.
Are you loosening now that quarantine's kind of calmed down?
Yeah, we're loosening up quarantine here, man. I've had enough. I can't take it anymore.
Oh, man. Might even give each other a big hug, right? Or at least shake each other.
All right.
What about your sauces? I know both of you have sauces. How'd your sauce situation come about?
I mean, for me, I started working back when I was 18 years old, how I got started cooking with a friend of mine's uncle, and he used to use KC Masterpiece. And so sauce was kind of not thought of for me. Rub was kind of the first thing, the sweet rub, and everything else was kind of born off of that. But the sauce, I was mixing a bunch of commercial sauces and really couldn't find what I liked. And I wanted something I thought was some orange in it or something like that, or maybe a little bit of apple flavor. And so I developed the sauce, and it first had orange marmalade in it. And I took that out and just added more brown sugar to it and got my recipe. I mean, it's really simple, 12 ingredients in the sweet sauce, 9 ingredients in the vinegar sauce. And I had the sweet sauce for the longest. And I mean, let's face it, Blues Hog and Tennessee Red are both staples in the competition world. And I was like, I want a vinegar sauce to kind of complement my sweet sauce, my tomato-based sauce. And so I worked on it, and I cooked a batch of it, and or a few batches of it, and got it good. And then I went out of town, and my wife actually cooked a batch of it and changed up just a little bit, and we liked it. And then we kind of split the difference between my batch and her batch, and that's how it was born.
Man. Awesome.
Well, mine, I wanted to make a Blues Hog sauce that tasted good, or at least tasted like my rub. So, I mean, everybody used Blues Hog out of the bottle, and and Blues Hog by itself, it's got a lot going on. It's tough to take a big spoon of it for me. And so I looked at the back of the bottle and I said, well, these are basic ingredients, and I'm going to make a sauce. So I sat down and started making a sauce that was trying to duplicate a Blues Hog without all the gritty seasoning that's in Blues Hog. And even when I was using it back in the day, we'd always strain it to get all that out of it. And so I come up with the base recipe, which is kind of a sweet, almost molassesy, kind of brown sugar sauce that had my barbecue rub in it. So I could, nobody had the recipe because I could send them the seasonings for that to the co-packer. And so I had 2 different co-packers at the time. And so I would buy my dry rub from one co-packer, send it to the sauce co-packer, and give them the wet ingredients to go in it. And they would make this sauce that when you used it, it glazed over and it made a beautiful color on the meat. So I was picking up those same notes. And that's how I developed mine. My vinegar sauce came about from doing Memphis in May with the vinegar category. I was just trying to, come up with a good eating vinegar sauce that wasn't so vinegary. I'm a big fan of a place called, not too far from us, called Jack's Creek. It's a little famous area up near Lexington, Tennessee. It's kind of a Tennessee version of North Carolina style pit barbecue where they do hogs and they always serve a vinegar sauce with it. That's what they're known for. But it's that real North Carolina vinegar style where it's just vinegar, red pepper, salt. And I wanted to take that version and sweeten it up a little where you could use it. And that's how my vinegar sauce came around, playing with that sauce.
That's awesome.
I only have 2 sauces. That's all I have.
Right. Yeah. So Heath, going back to you, you said that the sweet rub was the rub that you started with, and everything is based off your sweet rub. Is that what I heard you say?
Well, when I say based off of it, like I actually, like Malcolm said about the co-packer, it took about a year for him to get it right with the co-packer from making it at home. That's very true because the co-packer's ingredients are so much fresher and everything than what we were buying at Sam's Club or Kroger to make rub out of. And so it changes it up dramatically. And so once I got the recipe perfected, the ratios and everything for the sweet rub, it was kind of easy to pull out paprika and chili powder and all that to make the everyday rub. And to be brutally honest, pecan, peach, cherry, and apple, the only difference between that and sweet rub, it has the same salt, sugar, everything's the same. I pulled 2 cups of the brown sugar out and put 2 cups of the flavoring in is all I did. And the peach actually has 4 cups in it of peach flavoring versus the others just have 2 cups apiece. But those 5 rubs are basically the same base, but with a different flavoring to them.
Ah, there you go. So they all layered well and they work well together, it sounds like.
That's right.
Malcolm, somebody keeps asking about your honey turkey. It sounds like you have a honey turkey rub or recipe that you must have done a video on. Scott was talking about that. I'm really looking forward to doing your honey turkey.
The last what I did, the turkey breast. It's like a honey baked turkey, pretty much. Where it caramelized, use the turbinado sugar on it, and it lets it melt down. It kind of creates that honey baked ham effect on a turkey breast. And it's awesome.
There you go. So how do you choose when you do videos? How do you choose what you're going to do?
Well, we kind of start with the times of the year. That kind of dictates what we're going to do. Like we want to hit the major holidays. We know we're going to try to come out with some real strong videos or something that's Thanksgiving. We're going to do some turkey stuff. Christmas, we're going to do some ham or some kind of fancy roast or something, and then Super Bowl, I know I'm going to have some Super Bowl type food. So we apply that to the whole year. And I try to sit down and keep a running list going. I've got a spreadsheet on my computer, and I keep a note list in my cell phone. When I think of a recipe, I might try something when I'm out and say, this would be good adapted to the smoker. Or this would be great on the grill. And so I just kind of keep a list going of ideas, and then I pull for them and plug them in. We'll sit down, usually every 2 months. We try to stay 2 months out, excuse me, with a calendar on what recipe we're going to do that week. And it may be something that I know that say I want to do a new turkey recipe. Well, I've got to start working on that a few months out to get it down. I don't like to go in just straight blind. Sometimes I do some experimenting and just see how it turns out on them. But really, I'm not short on any ideas. I'm really short on time to do them. That's the whole thing. I keep a list of several hundred, ideas that I think will make good videos. As long as I stay ahead, it's not hard.
So when you do that, do you cook them on all the different smokers that you have? Do you go with a ceramic? Do you go with a kettle? Do you try the different smokers?
I like to say that all mine can be cooked on any kind of grill. Now, when I'm practicing, that might be the same grill I cook it on for the recipe because I try to mix it up. I don't want to just get stuck using the same grill over and over and over because I know my theory behind that is people don't have the same grills I do at home. Some of them may have a Traeger, some of them may have a Big Green Egg, but everybody's cooking on all different stuff. So I like to adjust my recipes to where it's about the technique, it's about the cooking temp, and it's about the final internal temp of the meat. And so you can do that on any kind of grill. And that's kind of, what a lot of the stuff I do is about, because I want people to be able to duplicate it.
Yeah. So, Heath, I know you said you've got a YouTube channel that you're about to start dropping some videos on. Is it going to be where Malcom, I think you do an amazing job of getting to the at-home cook and still keeping the competition guy on edge or whatever. Heath, what are your thoughts on your videos? Are they going to be more competition, or are they going to be?
No, I'll do some competition style recipes, of course, but I'm not really trying to appeal to the competition cook. Not meaning that in a bad way or anything. I'm going to give away my competition recipes before it's over with. I'm going to give them away. But I feel like that just cooking every day dinner or on the weekend at home, people are wanting recipes that they can cook at home. And I'll go ahead and tell you the recipe that I'm going to drop coming up. First one is going to be a double cut, reverse seared bone-in pork chop. And so I'll tell you it was good, really good. And we were doing it for dinner and kind of shot it late in the evening to eat it for dinner. And I grilled some sweet potatoes with it with pecan rub and some bacon wrapped asparagus, and everything turned out great. Great.
Man, sounds awesome. Golly, I could go for a good steak or something right now. Ellen made a great dinner tonight, but whatever. We can always make it better. So Matthew Jordan wants to know, what about classes? Looks like we just lost Malcom again. I'm sure he'll be right back. What about classes? Are you going to do any more classes, Heath?
I feel like I will do some more classes. I have a warehouse now shop, I just got kind of outgrew everything that I had going on. And so I'll do some classes here before it's over with, very limited. I don't know if I will teach any more full-blown comp classes out somewhere. I might do one here. I do have some vendors. Me and Malcom went out to Arizona and done a class together. It was kind of a, backyard style cooking where we showed some ribs and brisket and, smoked some hams and different stuff and some side dishes. And I think people are more enjoyable to that and don't want to pay. I don't want to charge $700 for a class. I never have. I'm not going to. I'm almost to the point where I just, give it away. I mean, that's kind of the attitude I've kind of gotten, and be helpful to people in barbecue. I mean, I'm not trying to make a living from classes, so what does it matter? That's not my forte.
I mean, I remember last year. I think it was last year. Golly, who knows nowadays? You did your turn-ins live, and I don't remember what contest it was, but there was a couple contests I think you did. You were turning it. It
was a double header. It was in Mississippi.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. It was back-to-back days, and I remember sitting there and be like, "Holy smokes, man! This is Heath Riles turning. I mean, he's literally showing what he's turning in. This isn't fake. This is the real deal."
Well, and I think that's what people want to see during crunch time and everything else is how you react to it. Everybody reacts different. A lot of people's trailers is pure chaos during that time. I'm not saying that my trailer's never been chaos, because it is at Memphis in May every year. For some reason, that contest is like no other, and you're just turning in one category. But doing the live stream like that, I would like to get set up on a little more professional basis, maybe with some GoPros and stuff. But I would like to do that more. I feel like people want to see that. And I think that first day we finished 4th or 5th, and the next day we won reserve when I went live. And I still get a lot of compliments from going live and how much people learned. Even some cooks that are in the top 10 of KCBS is like, I picked up some good tips from you there.
Yeah. You know, I'm my buddy Matt Walker at Boomerang. We talk a good bit about. He's like, there needs to be more fans of barbecue, and I think that's what you two guys are doing so well, is trying to get more barbecue fans, get people to watch what we do, or watch what competition, or watch what's going on out there, because that's what makes this thing go around for all of us, is having more fans per se of what we did. I think Pitmasters back in the day was a big it started that, you know, I mean, it got a lot of people into barbecue. And what y'all are doing is the same thing. Malcom, I mean, you've got more followers and everything else on YouTube, bringing people in. No telling how many people you've got started cooking barbecue, right? Like just watching your videos, and man, that guy's awesome what he did. And they go, I mean, somebody on here said I replicated what he did, and it was one of the best things I've cooked, right? And that's got to make you feel good, but that's what it's all about, right? That's what you're doing this for.
That's what we figured out. You know, we were lucky enough to get, I think it was on back in 2006. Food Network asked us to do be one of the teams on Memphis in May when they were doing a special there. And they followed us around for the whole contest. I think it was Myron and Wayne and Linda from Red Hot too. But people started kind of recognizing our name from there, and this was way before YouTube or anything like that. And we started realizing that people would come up to us and say, you know, they liked what we're doing, and they liked seeing that show. And so I figured out quick that there's people that's fans of just barbecue. It's not just necessarily competition stuff. They want to learn how to cook better. They want to duplicate this stuff. And so when we saw that and we started doing videos, a lot of our first stuff was comp stuff, but then we started getting people asking, you know, the comp stuff's great, but I want to cook this for myself and for my family at home. What can I do just to make some good eating stuff? And then lights kind of went off in mine and Rochelle's head that, look, we could switch this to, just to helping everybody cook better barbecue. And that's what we did. And I think that's where the fans are, man. You got to think, just about every household in America has a grill. And people love cooking outside. It's a family thing. It's a friends thing, There's a lot more to it than just, throwing meat on a grill. Barbecue's huge. It really is.
It's an experience.
It is.
Right? It's an experience that you can get together. I don't know, you fire up the grill and people come over and everybody congregates around the grill. It's like when people come to the house, where they always stay. They stay in the kitchen. Well, you get a grill out. Everybody's outside by the grill. It's what people love to talk about. They just, I think the whole fire thing just gets you going. And that's what we're trying to do at the Atlanta Barbecue Store. We sell to competition barbecue cooks, but we're trying to get to, like, even on Chewin the Barbecue Fat. This is our goal, is to have somebody to be able to go win their backyard family get together, win their tailgate, like cook the best barbecue you can at your tailgate and show off, that's the kind of stuff that we're trying to promote and hope get out. And that's what I think both of you two gentlemen do so well, is you're incredible cooks, but you've got it to where anybody can cook great food. Somebody on here said, I followed I think when y'all did it together, the rib, when y'all cooked together, they said they watched that and they were some phenomenal ribs. Just little things like that just are pretty awesome. So keep it going, guys, because that's what it's all about.
And I think it is too. I think it's about sharing. That's the big thing. Heath hit the nose and talk about giving stuff away. Share. That's what keeps this thing we love about barbecue going. Sharing the recipes we're cooking, the experiences we're having, and people. That's why I started bringing people on my show. I want people to teach me something. I don't know it all. I'll be the first. I'm nowhere close to the best barbecue guy out there. That's Darren Ward. Those are the best. I just like to do it, and I like to share what I do, and I like to learn. So, I think if you have that attitude, then you can do this a long time and have a lot of fun doing it.
That's right.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one thing that I enjoy. I always love watching your shows, Malcom, but I enjoy when you bring other people. I know you had Eric Lee, Fire Dancer, on the other day doing chicken. He's actually going to be on the show in 2 weeks here on him and Drew Davis with Razor Racks. I've got those two guys coming on the show in a couple weeks. So, it's neat to see the different perspectives and everything else and how that can be translated to at home. And Heath, your products, you've got a lot of good products, right? We've got a lot of them in our store. And everyone, I try to tell people, look, as the products that we sell, both of y'all, the products that we sell you can use them at home. You don't have to go cook a competition with this. Mm-hmm. You're going to make better food. I can promise you. If you use these rubs that we have on our store, it's going to be better. Just because I think they're higher quality and the different stuff y'all do. But it's all about getting that guy at home to be able to cook good so that if it is for the competition side of things, they feel strong enough at home that they can bring it to the competition world. Right.
And for me, I mean, like product wise, it's not just about competition barbecue or anything. It's a lifestyle. And I'm sure Malcom would agree to that. Even if we're cooking in the kitchen and, it's raining and storming outside, 10 out of 10 times I'm grabbing a bottle of dry rub of mine or Malcom's or a few other brands that I keep in my house, and I'm putting it on something. I mean, I don't care. I'm going to season it with something. My wife sometimes will smack something out of my hand. Well, it don't need that. And I'm like, yeah, it does. It needs it. And I'm just so used to that, and I'm going to come out with several more products before it's over with. And I've always got kind of like Malcom's recipes. I've got some recipes saved that I'm doing. I don't have quite that big a list up, but I've probably got 20 products that I've developed and kind of worked on and trying to get down pat. Now, will all 20 of them eventually be released? I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. But like I said, it's a lifestyle. My kind of goal is when you're cooking at home, whether it's on the grill, in the kitchen, I want you reaching for a bottle of my rub some kind of way. I mean, that's just the way I feel.
I mean, I did that last night. We had some hamburgers. Ellen and my neighbor, Lisa, they had hamburgers. They're about to just throw them on the grill. I was like, whoa, what are you doing? No. Bring them back in. Let's go get some rubs and throw them out there. And we did. And I mean, they're both like, oh, that was really good. But, Malcom, I'll say I've got more compliments on the barbecue rub. Everybody says that puts the absolute best color on meat of any rub out there.
That was one of the important things we wanted it to do. I mean, I had to have something to give me that pretty color, to give me the edge in Memphis and May style cooking. And so that's how we got it. I mean, when I first did it, it was just by mixing. I would go to a store called Penzi Spices. I don't even know if it's still around. I think the one in Memphis closed. I don't know if they're still open as a company, but they had all different kinds of seasonings, and they had a dozen different paprikas. So I would buy, the big bulk paprika at Sam's, and then I would buy some of their fancier, more expensive paprikas from Penzi's. And then we would take those paprikas, when I got my ratio right, how much paprika I wanted to put in a rub, and I would take the sugar and I would blend it by hand and rub the sugars through those paprikas, and it was picking up those resins on the outside of it. So that's how I got to that color. Now, when I got to working with a co-packer, just like, we're not going to be able to make this way. I didn't know. And that's what took me that's what took me a year to be able to get it to the color. And then when I've switched co-packers a couple times, and that's been the hardest thing, switching co-packers, is getting them to figure out how to take my recipe that I hand blend with paprikas to get the color for them to pick it up from the paprika they're buying. And so that's been a challenge, but it does really give it a beautiful color. And that's what that rub's all about. And it does the same thing with the sauce, because we use it in the sauce too. There's a lot of people try to duplicate that color of barbecue rubs, but I think it goes back to, not knowing how I picked it up in the sugar to get it to the paprika to come across. Because you can put paprika in any rub, and most of them have it in there as an ingredient, but they don't have it blended the way I have it blended.
Right.
And as we all know, some paprikas can be hotter than others.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a Spanish paprika will burn you up, or a Hungarian paprika is a little more sweeter. I mean, so it's a lot more that goes into making a rub than just going to Sam's Club or Kroger and throwing some stuff in a bowl. And I love watching some of these Facebook groups, like don't buy a rub, make your own, and that's all cool if that's what you want to do. But we've kind of went to the trouble of figuring it all out for you. And you're not going to be able to make the same rub that we can sell you cheaper. I mean, there's no way possible. Not with the quality ingredients that we're using.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's we have people all the time call us, say, hey, I make my own rub. What's a good sauce to put with it? I'm like, well, how the heck am I supposed to? I don't know. I mean, it's your rub. I mean, now if you're buying stuff, I mean, it's easier to pair things when you know what's going on. But to me, I tell people all the time, there's always, why make a rub when so many good people have gone ahead of us and done it? And then to take that a step further, Malcom, you even brought it up earlier, your sauce came about from Blues Hog and some of your rubs came from Smoking Guns Hot. I mean, we're seeing that all the time. How many different people take a rub and they try to take a little bit out of this or add a little bit to it, whatever. And that's where the new rub comes from.
That's right. You see it. I see that all the time. And that's what gets me to thinking about stuff. It's like, just, picking up things you make. There's only, every rub, you can look at the ingredients list. They all basically have the same thing. It's just different combination of what's in there.
Different ways.
That's how they work, There's only so many ways you put together.
Exactly. I mean, there's only, there's only so many different ingredients you're going to use to do this, right? So, anyway, I just say we got some of the best products. Might as well use it.
You got two of the best.
Yeah, we've got Daniel Washington.
You'll never catch me just saying you got to use mine. I mean, I think there's a lot of great products out there, and I use Heath stuff all the time. There's a lot of great guys that's got some good products. I mean, if you use mine, that's fine. I use mine too, but I don't try to push anybody, man.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Washington.
It's enough room for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Me and Malcom have the mentality we'd rather help each other. We bounce ideas off each other. We phone call. I've talked to him earlier today about some stuff. I mean, we're all the time going back and forth because, that's what it's about. I mean, I don't want to sit over here in my office going, oh, I wonder what he's doing. Hell, I just
Yeah. Well, how can we make it better? That's what it's all about. That's what you think. I mean,
it's better for all of us. That's the way. That's the way I feel about it. I try to help everybody. Yeah,
and Daniel Washington, he's with Whiskey Bit Barbecue Supply Store down in, he's on watching and talking a lot about how y'all's products. Our products we had the same thing. I mean, it's hard for us to see when we get orders in. It's very rarely is it just one person's order. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there, and it's it's all about mixing and maxing, and both of y'all are very well represented with the Atlanta Barbecue Store, and it's good products, and let me see. Cody Dawes asked a question. What advice would you give to a young person that has their own sauce and store? How should I grow? And what advice would you give?
I would say slow.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what we've done. We believe in going slow. I mean, I slowly built up what we did, and we started, doing the YouTube stuff and slowly building our customer base and adding products and not trying to get in over our head. I'm not somebody that wants to, take out a bunch of loans and go make a bunch of barbecue sauce and rub and then hope I sell it. I want to create the demand by building the brand first. And you do that through your social media, through Facebook, through YouTube, getting out there and doing comps and getting your name out. You've got to build that first before you can sell anything. That's the biggest thing to me. So I would say first, go get if you're not on all three social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you need to get on there and find your voice and then start building your brand that way. Then you can sell your products.
And I've got to agree with Malcom 100%. It's hard for somebody to break into the business that just comes up with a rub or a sauce and has absolutely no social media following these days. I mean, let's face it, social media has become part of our everyday life. And I mean, look at what it's done now when this virus and stuff's on. There's people that go into Zoom meetings. I mean, we're on Facebook Live right now. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's social media, social media, social media. I mean, that's pounded in our heads every day. All of us has got a phone in our hand. And so if you're not utilizing that tool, I mean, it's just you're not benefiting yourself the right way. You got to get yourself out there, and you got to get your name out there to, like Malcolm said, grow that demand or create it before you go invest a lot of money in it.
I mean, you're your own best marketer. When we started, we don't have a marketing budget. We never spent the first dollar marketing. We did all of ours through social media, and that was our marketing. You know, getting on Facebook, starting out MySpace back in the day, having a newsletter. I mean, all this was marketing that we spent. That was cheap marketing. It was free. It was just us. We had to put the sweat equity in it, and I think that's what a lot of people want to skip. That they want the fast track to get. You know, that you want a fast track just because you know you've got some products you think they're great for everybody. You don't realize there's a million great products, but being able to get them in front of people and to get people to want to buy them is another thing. I'm not a marketing guy at all. I just know what worked for me, and you know, social media has been so powerful. I mean, so powerful.
We get it all the time. I mean, we have people sending us product after product after product, wanting us to get on the store, this, that, and the other, and our thing is, does it sell? I mean, there's got to be. I can't be your marketing guy to go sell your product. Does your product sell? If your product sells, then we'll sell it, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing. So listen to their advice, and then come to people, come to Daniel, come to us, come to different stores, and try and get it sold. There's got to be a market for it. Stan wants to know, and I think this is a great question for both of you. And I'll wrap it up. I know I've taken up a lot of your time. If you could only have 4 spices or rubs for the rest of your time, what would they be?
Salt, pepper, garlic's the easy 3. Yeah. And then for that 4th one, man, that's a tough one. I'll tell you what I'd pick, MSG. I can make a lot of stuff taste good with that. It might piss a lot of people off.
I've kind of got to agree with Malcolm. It would definitely be salt, pepper, garlic. And I would probably go, if I didn't go MSG, I'd go onion powder if I had to have 4 spices.
What if you had to do rubs?
4 rubs already put together?
Yeah, like your barbecue rub. Or
I would definitely say my everyday rub, garlic butter.
And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to throw in something else. Try and make at least one of them that's not your own.
Actually, Malcolm's hot rub and my honey rub. That would be my 4. But I don't. Pecan rub would be that close 4.5 or 5. You know what I mean? It'd be right there with it.
Okay. I just wanted to try and push you a little bit. You know.
No, I was actually going to say Malcolm's hot rub. It'll be Smoky Joe's hot or Malcolm's hot rub, one of the two. And I'll use Malcolm's hot rub, so it'll be Malcolm's hot rub.
There you go. Fair enough. Malcolm?
I'd definitely take AP. That would be one. I mean, I got to pick the barbecue rub. That's my color on everything. Heath's honey rub or the honey chipotle. That's one of those 2. Those are both great. I'm trying to pick one out there that's. I'm probably going to say Huey's burger seasoning. Y'all probably who knows what it is.
What is it now?
Huey's burger seasoning.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, it is
Huey's burger seasoning.
You bring up a good point. It would have to be Huey's burger seasoning or Lowry's seasoning sauce.
Yeah, Lowry's seasons, yeah.
One of the two.
Huey's has a Worcestershire note to it, and it's just a good all around. It's good on chops or burgers or steaks.
Yeah,
all kinds of stuff.
I wasn't even thinking about that. That might change me up right there. That's it.
I'm surprised you didn't go with your Texas rub that is basically salt, pepper.
Yeah, I mean that's good on everything too. But the AP, I mean, salt, pepper, garlic. You can use a every day, like Heath's every day or my AP in just about any dish you want to create. Because everything's got salt, pepper, garlic in it. I mean, the only part you're kind of messed up with is if you don't want garlic in a dish. If you're making sweet potatoes, you probably don't want garlic in it or something like that. So that can mess you up sometime. But your average vegetables or stews or chilies or soups or anything you make, you can use salt, pepper, garlic in it. So those seasons, that blend across the board, so versatile. It can go on anything. And then, of course, put BBQ Rub when you're making barbecue, but you've got to have something outside the box that doesn't necessarily have that. If you're going, for me, for cooking all different, if I'm thinking cooking all kinds of different stuff.
There you go. I love it. I think it's awesome. There's so many different rubs and combinations out there. Can't ask for any better what you just said. So y'all have been awesome. Is there any, I get this question all the time, and I'll ask both of you just because it's something I always have to ask. Heath, I'll start with you because you're in the middle. What is some advice you would tell somebody either getting into barbecue, getting into competition barbecue, whatever? What is some advice you would have to tell?
I would probably say you need to practice a lot, but instead of going out there and wasting a lot of money, cut the curve, take somebody's reputable class, or either beg to get under somebody's wing that does very well in the barbecue world and kind of go wash dishes for them and kind of work your way up and learn that way. But if not, you really need to pay somebody. I believe in a one-on-one class versus going and taking just a general class. And I do some like one-off kind of stuff sometimes. It's not the cheapest, but if you want to go to a comp with me and cook, and it's an open book, and you see everything, every little trick, tip, whatever, I do that every once in a while, usually once or twice a year for somebody. And I've had some guys that has had some great success with it. But just don't go out here and start going to comps and getting your teeth kicked in. It's too much knowledge out there now. And anybody that asks me, I always say, well, go over to Malcom's YouTube channel, watch him cook a whole shoulder. I don't have one. Watch him, watch a rib video, watch this, watch that. I mean, you can kind of tell somebody, but watching a video about it is totally different. Or going and standing beside somebody cooking. So taking somebody's class or being mentored by somebody is where I'd say you need to start these days.
To be honest with you, if somebody I know that hasn't got any background in cooking, I'm saying go to How to Barbecue Right's YouTube page. There is more information on that YouTube page than anywhere else that you'll find in barbecue. You can find everything. You can find chicken, you can find ribs, you can find brisket, you can find pork, you can find shoulder, you can find you can find everything on Malcom's page. And then once they get into it, then it's like, yeah, go get a class. But Malcom, what is something? Let's see, how can I check? Well, you go ahead and answer it.
Yeah, well, I think that's sage advice. You become a student of barbecue. That's what I say. If you've got it in your mind that you want to, be the best in competition barbecue, you've got to start out at the bottom. You got to learn everything you can about it. There's no fast track. I mean, taking the classes, you'll hear me tell everybody, take your class, take multiple classes. I still try to take them myself. Even though I teach classes, I still take classes. Go out, get certified to judge, pick you some contests to judge when you're not cooking barbecue. Practice all the time. And then don't get the big head thinking you know it all, because I promise you don't. And there's always somebody that'll beat you. So be humble about it. You can't go into mom and you're going to win every single time you cook, unless you're Heath.
Right. Exactly. We can't all be Heath.
I look at it ain't like I had to try, but I learned something at every contest I cook.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to really surround yourself with it and become a student of it. And if you've got the passion for it, yeah, you can be successful. It's not something I think everybody could be successful at barbecue if they're willing to put the time in and, the energy that it takes to do it. It's not, this isn't rocket science we're doing. When it comes down to it, we're just putting meat on grills and having a good time. But there's a lot of hard work and a lot of stuff that you're not going to learn unless you put in the hours and you dedicate what you're doing. You dedicate yourself to it. That's what I'm trying to say.
You've got to put it all out there. You can't just go halfway and expect to be you guys, right? The person that asked the question, how do I get my stuff out there? Y'all aren't doing this just on the side. This is something that you poured your whole life into. You're really pushing it. It's your what you want to do. So, well, that's awesome. The other I won't even get into it, but are y'all Oh, I know what I was saying. I did a class last weekend. I did an online class, and it was awesome. I mean, I learned a lot. It was, a lot of people are like, can you learn anything watching videos? Man, I think you can. I really do. I believe you can learn watching videos. Now you also, you need to do some of the other stuff, but get as much information as you can. And then go practice. Daryl Strickland just said it. After the class, go cook, go practice, practice. And use Heath Riles products and Killer Hogs products.
That's right.
And then you'll go win. Right? Is that
guaranteed? It's guaranteed.
Guaranteed. That's awesome. Well, guys, is there anything that y'all want to leave anything, your Facebook pages, your Instagram, any of that kind of stuff you want to share? Or, I mean,
you can follow us at Heath Riles Barbecue on every social media platform and YouTube. And, and of course, we're doing a Yeti giveaway this weekend. If you want to go sign up on our page, you can go to Facebook and Instagram and sign up, or you can go direct to our website, and I'm going to do a live deal and give away a Yeti cooler. And I'm going to be announcing later this week, we're going to be giving away some Cheshire pork and a PK grill coming up. And so it's going to be, we're going to do some giveaways. And so, hey, all you got to do is enter to win.
Now, is your YouTube page already set up to where people can go ahead and sign up for it?
You can go ahead and follow us on there at Heath Riles Barbecue. It don't have any videos up yet. And Candace, when will the video be up, honey? She said later this week. That's the only answer she give me.
Okay, there you go, guys. What about you, Malcolm?
I'm How to Barbecue Right across all platforms, easy to find. And yeah, I just appreciate everybody checking out what we do and corresponding back with us and following. And appreciate you having us on tonight, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I think people can learn a lot from tuning into to this show and other shows too. Even though we're not teaching a class, there's valuable information here that we're, and having platforms like this to share on, man, that's what it's all about. It's a great thing.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, and if either one of y'all needs any help at Memphis and whenever it is, October, September, let me know. I'd love to come help. We had a blast last year going to that thing, and it was, Ella and I still talk about how much fun it was. It's, so we'd love to come help anyone.
Don't threaten me with free labor.
That's right. You don't know what you're getting into there.
T-shirt, okay? That's the quickest way to get a T-shirt.
There you go. I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great night. Guys, follow them, like their page, do everything they do to support these guys. Y'all have a great night, and we will see you next week. Thank y'all.
Thanks, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right.
You too, guys. Thanks.